all know that scales are a massive part of improvising and soloing. Using scales, using shapes and positions that you know, is kind of the first step in starting to learn how to solo and to improvise. To rip around the guitar kind of without a plan, if you're not sure what improvising and soloing is, that's kind of what it is. There's a chord progression or a jam going on and you just want to play and noodle over the top. Scales are pretty much the most important thing to know for those. There is one trap that I feel like we as guitarists easily get into when it comes to scales, and that is learning our shapes and kind of only using those positions and not really knowing how to break out of them and to kind of move around fluently. We often can kind of go up and down or across, but we can kind of get into ruts where it is kind of difficult to break out of those shapes and positions that you already know. I had this problem, still have this problem, still working on it, but I remember a specific time where I just thought, you know what, I want to figure out a scale that I can kind of just play all over the guitar, something that I can practice that helps me figure out all the sections and all of the patterns and all of the boxes that I can use, but kind of be able to go in between and sort of flow between them on the guitar. So I sat there one day and I just worked out this big, long, massive E major scale that I'm going to show you right now, which I actually found really helped me kind of get out of the rut that I was in and really helped me to move a little more fluently and fluidly around the guitar. So I'm gonna start off by playing the entire scale thing that I made up for you. Don't try and learn it from this necessarily because it's gonna be pretty quick, but I will go through section by section, just show you sort of how I divvy it up. And then, yeah, you can learn it and see how you go. There will be a tab at some point, either in the video or in the description box. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna do there, but here is the scale itself. Okay, there you go, have fun. Okay, not really. I am gonna show you each individual part nice and slow with a tab, but that is just to get a little bit of an idea of what the whole thing looks like. Really, it's just positions and shapes and scales that you probably have already seen before and probably already know, but just kind of linked together so that it makes it a bit easier to, I guess, get almost your mind out of those boxes, but learn how to sort of do everything in different orders and sort of up and back. I just find it really helpful with soloing. So there are about 5 or 6 sections to this big scale, and I'm gonna play each of them for you a little bit slower. Feel free to pause the video at any time and figure them out. There should be a tab. So this is the first part. All right, second part. Part 3. Part 4. Part 5. And then part 6. Every single note in the key of E on every single string from the open strings up until the 17th fret is used in that pattern. So every single E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, and D sharp on the entire guitar from the 17th fret and down is utilized in that scale. This is important because often major scales and pentatonic scales and whatever that we learn kind of only use a certain amount of notes in a certain amount of positions, whereas this thing kind of covers everything. The reason this helped me is because it really allowed me to figure out those boxes, but also figure out kind of everywhere that I could go with it, if that kind of makes sense. So I would definitely encourage you to learn that entire thing and to practice it. If you want to practice it well and you want it to kind of be a bit of an exercise and technique as well, try and alternate pick it, so up, down, up, down, up, down the entire time. You can work it to a metronome and kind of get it fast. So you can turn this into a speed exercise or a precision exercise if you want. For me though, it's just really a way of figuring out where I can go when I'm soloing. My brain sort of naturally latches onto certain positions, right? So if I've got this E here, so my 1, my tonic, and my E on the B string, I kind of build a pattern around that. So that's a little shape there. I've definitely got one from here, the E from the G string. You can go from the 12th fret on the high E string. Right, so I've just kind of memorized where all the E's are and what the shapes are around them. The good thing about the guitar is that it's a very pattern-based instrument. So if you learn one scale, you learn an E major scale, you can just slide that up and play F major, or you can slide it down and play E flat major. You learn one scale, you've actually learned 12, right? Because there's 12 notes in Western music. There's also the relative minor. So if you're unaware of the relative minor, basically the 6th of every major scale, that certain notes on the key of E, it would be C sharp. That scale there, C sharp minor, is the same notes as E major, so therefore they're relative. This means that if we learn an E major scale, if we start that scale from C sharp and land on C sharp, we've learned a C sharp minor scale. So if you learn a major scale, you've actually also learned the relative minor. So if we know 12 major scales, then we also know 12 minor scales, which means we know 24 scales. I'm really telling you this so that it kind of starts to feel a little less daunting in a way. But if you learn one thing, it's really, really easy to adapt it to other keys and to adapt it all over the fretboard. It's probably another video there with those little boxes that I found and those little, positions that I found there. The good thing about this is, like I was saying before, the guitar being a pattern-based instrument, we're doing it all in E, right? But let's say we want to do it all in G. You find the tonic on the B string. You find it on the G string. A lot of the time I'm not thinking, oh, G, okay, what are the notes in G? What notes can I play in G? I'm just finding the 1 on any given string, and I know the patterns and the positions and the shapes around that 1 well enough that I can kind of just go for it without even thinking. So that's the goal here, is that yes, you want to know what notes are in each key, and yes, you want to know, that specific theory, and that's super, super important. But to get you started, learn this shape, for instance, in the key of E and start moving it around. You don't necessarily do the entire scale in every single key, but it's just figuring out where those boxes are and then moving them around to play them in G and in A and in D and in, whatever key, because again, they're all the same. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, right? So they're chords and I'm just literally moving up. The same thing as scales. Right? I'm not thinking about it. That's the cool thing. It's kind of daunting to think, oh man, I'm getting good at soloing in C major, but all of a sudden, the lads are jamming in B flat, I'm screwed. But really, if you really get to know those positions really, really well and you get them under the fingers, you can just move them around. So this whole E major scale thing is really just a way for me to link all of those boxes and all those shapes together to make soloing and improvising more enjoyable, more fun, easier, more fluent, more fluid. So you don't feel like you're just kind of stuck, but you can kind of move around and ultimately have more fun and sound better. And that's kind of the point, I guess. Hopefully this made sense. Hopefully this is helpful. Like I said, there should be a tab somewhere because I don't expect you to have to watch it to learn it. So there should be a tab there. If you do want to kind of learn it by ear and by watching, it's probably better for you than using a tab. But I will provide a tab anyway because I understand that that's probably a lot easier for a lot of people. Let me know in the comments if this was interesting. Let me know if this is helpful for you. Let me know if you need me to elaborate. I'm definitely keen to make more videos like this, more instructional videos on soloing, improvising, scales, modes, triads, whatever. So hit me up and let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. I really appreciate you just coming along and hanging out and checking this video out. So yeah, cheers for that. I will see you in the next one.